The ground outside the den is still cool when the mother honey badger emerges. For a few seconds, she does not move. Her nose works through the darkness, sorting thousands of competing scents carried across the dry earth. Then she turns toward the open grassland. Behind her, two small cubs remain hidden underground. They cannot follow. They cannot hunt. And whatever food she finds today must be enough to justify leaving them alone. She disappears into the scrub. The dry season has transformed this part of the savanna. Grass has thinned. Insects have retreated beneath the soil. Water is scattered between shrinking pools, and every exposed food source attracts competition. For a honey badger, this does not mean the hunt has ended. It means the search has to begin deeper. She moves slowly, nose close to the ground, stopping every few meters. A scent trail crosses her path. She follows it beneath a fallen branch, through brittle grass, and toward a low mound of packed earth. Termites. The mound appears solid from the outside, but beneath its surface is a hidden network of chambers. The honey badger begins digging. Her front claws tear into the hardened soil with surprising speed. Dust rises around her face as she works downward, exposing one layer after another. Then, the termites react. Thousands of workers disappear into the deeper passages, while soldiers rush toward the disturbance. She keeps digging. This is one of the advantages of being built close to the ground. Her body is compact. Her claws are powerful. And unlike a predator that must chase fleeing prey across open terrain, she can attack the food source itself. But the mound contains less than she expected. The richest chambers have already been abandoned. She stops, lifts her head, and listens. Somewhere beyond the grass, another animal is moving. A jackal appears on the edge of the clearing. It has been watching. The jackal is not interested in termites. It is interested in the honey badger. More precisely, it is interested in whatever the honey badger might uncover. The mother lowers her head again and resumes digging. The jackal comes closer. She ignores it. Another few strokes of the claws. Nothing. The jackal steps forward. Now she turns. The message is immediate. The honey badger does not need to chase the jackal. She simply faces it, shoulders raised, body angled toward the intruder. The jackal stops. For a few moments, neither animal moves. Then the jackal backs away. The encounter has cost the honey badger something far more important than food. Time. She leaves the mound behind. There are still cubs waiting at the den, and the morning is already becoming hotter. She moves into denser vegetation, following a scent that rises and disappears with every change in the wind. This time, she finds something worth pursuing. A cluster of ground-nesting insects is hidden beneath a rotting log. She tears into the wood. The colony erupts. For the first time that morning, she begins to feed. It is not a spectacular meal. There is no chase, no dramatic kill. But survival rarely depends on spectacular meals. For a mother with young, hundreds of small discoveries can matter more than one large prize. She eats quickly, then stops. The wind has changed. A new scent reaches her, something stronger, something carrying the unmistakable odor of meat. She leaves the insects behind. Across a shallow depression in the landscape lies the remains of a recently killed antelope. The carcass is already surrounded. Vultures stand nearby, waiting for another opportunity. A pair of jackals picks at the edges. And farther away, hyenas can be heard calling. The honey badger approaches from the opposite side. She does not run in. She watches. Every movement around the carcass tells her something. The vultures are nervous. The jackals are feeding quickly. No large predator is visible. For the moment, there is an opening. She moves in. Her teeth find a strip of flesh. Then another. She pulls backward, tearing loose a small piece. It is not much, but it is energy. And energy is what will carry her back to the den. A jackal approaches. She turns toward it. The jackal hesitates. Another approaches from behind. The honey badger pivots. Now she is surrounded by two scavengers. They are larger in the sense that matters here. Longer legs, greater reach, better suited to covering distance. But the honey badger has one advantage the jackals cannot easily exploit. She has nowhere she needs to run. She holds her ground. The jackals test the distance. One darts forward. She lunges. It retreats. The second moves in. Again she turns. The scavengers are trying to force her away from the carcass without committing to a serious fight. She understands the risk instinctively through behavior shaped by countless generations. A fight over a few mouthfuls of meat can become an injury. An injury can become starvation, and starvation can reach the den. So she does not stay longer than necessary. She takes what she can carry and leaves. The carcass remains behind. That is not defeat. It is calculation. The landscape changes as she climbs toward a rocky rise. Here, the soil is thinner and the vegetation is sparse. A narrow crevice cuts between two stones. She stops. Her nose points toward it. There is something inside. A snake. The honey badger begins investigating the entrance. The snake shifts deeper into the crack. She pushes her head closer. The confrontation is difficult to see because much of it happens inside the darkness. The snake strikes. The honey badger jerks backward. For several seconds, she remains still. Then she approaches again. This time she digs around the opening, widening the space with her claws. The snake strikes once more. She retreats. This is not an animal immune to danger. Venom is still dangerous. A bite can cause severe injury. The difference is that honey badgers possess physical toughness and a remarkable tolerance for some snake encounters, allowing them to survive situations that would be fatal to many smaller mammals. But tolerance is not invulnerability. The mother eventually abandons the crevice. She has spent too much time for too little certainty. Another calculation, another decision, and now the sun is high. The food she carries is beginning to dry in the heat. She turns toward home. The journey back is not easy. The scent of the carcass has followed her. A black-backed jackal appears again in the distance. It follows for several hundred meters. The honey badger keeps walking. The jackal keeps following. Neither wants to waste energy. Then the terrain narrows between two thorn bushes. The jackal sees its opportunity. It moves closer. The mother suddenly turns. She charges several steps. The jackal jumps away. She stops immediately. No prolonged chase. No unnecessary fight. The distance is restored. She continues toward the den. But the hardest part of the journey is still ahead. The ground rises toward a dry riverbed. This is where predators often travel. Fresh tracks cross the dust. Hyena, leopard, and something larger. The mother pauses over the prints. Her cubs are underground only a short distance away. She cannot afford to lead danger directly to them. So she changes direction. Instead of taking the shortest route, she disappears into thicker cover. It costs her time, but it keeps the den farther from the trail. Eventually, the entrance appears beneath a tangle of roots. She stops outside, listens, then enters. The cubs react immediately. The mother disappears into the darkness, and for a while the world above becomes silent. The food is gone quickly. There is no ceremony, no guarantee that tomorrow will be easier. The cubs are still dependent. The dry season is still tightening its grip, and the mother must leave again. Later that afternoon, she emerges from the den alone. The shadows are longer now. She could continue searching, but another risk is approaching. A distant rumble rolls across the plain. Thunder. The first storm of the season may be forming somewhere beyond the horizon. Rain could transform the landscape. It could bring insects back to the surface, fill temporary pools, renew vegetation, and change the entire balance of the food web. But the storm is not here yet. For tonight, the ground remains dry. The mother walks a short distance from the den and begins searching again. This time, she finds a small patch of disturbed soil. Something has been digging here. She digs deeper. A beetle, then another, then dozens more. She feeds. The meal is tiny. But after a day of failed opportunities, stolen scraps, dangerous encounters, and long travel, even a handful of insects has value. She remains there until the last light fades. Then she turns back toward the den. The savanna has not given her an easy victory. It has given her fragments, a few insects, a little meat, a narrow escape, and enough food to keep 2 young animals alive for another night. That is the reality of the honey badger's world. Its reputation is built around confrontation, but confrontation is only one part of its survival. The greater skill is knowing when to push forward, when to wait, and when to walk away. It cannot outrun every predator. It cannot overpower every rival. It cannot guarantee that every hunt will succeed. What it can do is keep searching, keep testing, keep adapting to a landscape where conditions change from hour to hour. For the cubs beneath the earth, that persistence has consequences. Every meal their mother brings back buys them more time to grow, more time for their legs to strengthen, more time for their senses to develop. Eventually, they will leave the den. They will face the same dry ground, the same predators, the same hunger, and they will have to make their own decisions. Night settles over the savanna. The mother slips underground. Above her, the first distant lightning briefly illuminates the horizon. The rain has not arrived yet, but somewhere beyond the darkness, the season is beginning to turn. For now, survival remains a matter of inches, minutes, and small opportunities. And in a world where the strongest do not always win, the honey badger endures by recognizing one simple truth. Sometimes survival does not belong to the animal that takes the most.
She embodies
It belongs
true
to the
endurance
one
and
that
patience.
knows when there is
The
enough to
decision
go
to
home.
take only